Joe's sports car gleamed under the dim streetlights as I pulled into the bar's parking lot, its sleek lines a stark contrast to my beat-up sedan. It had been 2 years since I'd last seen him, 2 years since I'd left the military, discharged after 8 years of service in the Middle East, and returned to a life that felt like starting over. Joe and I had grown up together in the Midwest, inseparable despite our differences. He was the quiet, geeky one, smart, kind, never stepping on toes. I was the loudmouth, the extrovert, the guy who joined ROTC in high school and shipped off to war while Joe stayed behind, his father's disapproval keeping him out of the conflict. Back then we bonded over video games and shared dreams. Now he was a 7-figure success story, and I was a jobless vet hoping my old friend would throw me a lifeline. I'd called him a few days after getting home, itching to catch up over a drink. He'd turned me down once already, too busy running his manufacturing empire, but this time he'd agreed. Seeing his car parked behind mine sparked a flicker of excitement. I hadn't expected him to show, not after how distant we'd grown. He'd built a thriving business while I was overseas, a bioengineering grad turned entrepreneur, designing medical equipment and sourcing parts from Asia. Meanwhile, I'd come back with scars, a limp, and no real skills to land me anything better than minimum wage. I wasn't surprised by his success, he'd always been the brains, but it stung to feel so far behind. Inside the bar, Joe looked different. He'd packed on about 40 pounds, his once lanky frame softened by stress or success, maybe both. We swapped pleasantries, the kind of small talk that felt forced after so long apart. I tried steering the conversation toward the job we'd talked about years ago, customer relations, overseas sourcing, something I could do with my military-honed grit. But he dodged it, his eyes lighting up as he talked about his wife instead. Kim, he said, was Chinese, someone he'd met 2 years ago on a business trip to China. She'd been his translator, then his liaison, and now his partner, both in life and in the company. They'd had a court wedding in China, brought her to the US on a spousal visa, and she was pushing for a big white wedding, the kind she'd dreamed of as a kid. She's amazing, he said, his voice carrying that goofy, love-struck tone I'd heard before. Joe had a habit of falling hard for any girl who gave him attention. His nerdy charm made him an easy mark. I'd warned him about it growing up, watched him crash and burn more than once. This time, though, it sounded serious. Too serious. He told me they hadn't been intimate yet. Kim wanted to wait until after the wedding, something about making it special. I nearly choked on my beer. 2 years together, living under the same roof for almost one, and nothing? Red flags waved in my head. That's different, I said, trying to keep it light. What's the holdup with the wedding? Her parents' visas, he replied, shrugging. They're close to sorting it out. She wants them here for it. I didn't buy it. If it were me, man, that ship would have sailed by now. He bristled, his jaw tightening. I pushed anyway. She's got a lot of control over your business already. You sure she's not playing you? She's smart, beautiful, hardworking, he shot back, listing her virtues like a salesman. She's a great partner. There's a lot of smart, beautiful women out there, I said. What makes her special? And no sex after all this? That's weird, Joe. He shut down, irritation flashing in his eyes. I'd overstepped and the job talk went nowhere. He promised vaguely to shuffle things around and let me know if there was a spot. Walking away, I felt the gap between us widen. The Joe I knew was slipping, replaced by a guy too caught up in his success and his wife to hear me out. I swore to myself, if he offered me a job, I'd play it safe, keep my mouth shut, and look out for number one. A few days later, he called, inviting me to his house. I treated it like a job interview, nerves jangling as I pulled up to his place. A nice, understated home in a good part of town. I was still crashing with my parents driving a clunker, so his setup hit me hard. Kim was there, shy and formal, her beauty striking even in a simple sweater and jeans. She'd cooked Chinese food and it was damn good. Over wine in the living room, Joe dropped the bombshell. VP of Customer Relations and Sourcing, third in line after him and Kim, with 2 employees under me. The company had 10 staff focused on medical equipment and parts, sourcing from Asia, assembling in the US. A goldmine if you had the right patents. Kim ran supply chain, customer relations, marketing, even hiring, while Joe handled engineering and quality. I'd be supporting her more than him, and that set me on edge. They were planning a trip to China and Vietnam in a few months, And Joe wanted me to go instead, letting Kim bring me up to speed with suppliers. It sounded perfect, too perfect. Kim loosened up as the wine flowed, her guarded demeanor cracking. I kept my cool, not wanting to rock the boat. A week into the job, I was settling in, learning fast. Then came the Las Vegas Expo, a 3-day gig to showcase our products. Joe, Kim, me, and another guy went, renting a booth. We flew in Tuesday night, staying at the same hotel. I hit Joe and Kim's suite with questions about marketing materials, but Kim was downstairs. Joe couldn't help, so I went looking for her. I found her at the bar, chatting with some guy. She waved me over, and they hit me with awkward small talk about horse racing, something I knew nothing about. Felt like a dodge. She was drinking, flirting subtly with the guy, who bolted when I got close, looking disappointed. Kim played it off, but the vibe was off. After a couple drinks, she opened up about Joe, how he was obsessed with work, controlling, always judging her. I can't be myself around him, she said, her voice sharp with frustration. She told me about her life, born in China, strict parents, a rich uncle who'd shown her the world, college early, a job bridging Chinese and foreign businesses. That's how she met Joe. I was impressed but uneasy. She wasn't happy with him, that much was clear. We talked for over an hour, the bar emptying out. The booze fueled a spark between us. Flirting, tension building. I suggested inviting Joe down, but she said he was asleep. I excused myself to the bathroom, needing to cool off. This was Joe's wife, my boss's wife, and I was crossing lines. When I returned, another guy was hitting on her. He left as I sat down and I couldn't stop staring. She was stunning, a 9 or 10 easy. I joked about dancing to the shitty elevator music. She laughed, saying it was too slow. She liked R&B EDM house. I suggested Vegas clubs and she knew exactly where to go. Places she'd hit for her birthday, for business. This wasn't the Kim I'd pegged as prim and proper. At the club we danced, the alcohol blurring boundaries. It got physical, too physical. She stopped me at 1 a.m., saying we should head back before Joe noticed. In the cab we kissed and she went further, unzipping me, not caring about the driver. He joked about getting a room, she pulled back. At the hotel, she said goodnight and went to Joe's room. I lay awake replaying it, torn between guilt and what-ifs. Next morning, she acted like nothing happened, avoiding eye contact at breakfast. At the expo, she dodged me, leaving early, claiming she felt sick. I rode back with Joe, terrified she'd spill. I almost confessed, but couldn't. The last day, we were alone at the booth. I stammered an apology, she brushed it off. It won't happen again. And that was it. On the flight home, they laughed together like nothing was wrong. I dodged a bullet. The China trip got delayed and their white wedding happened instead. Her parents there, a big affair. I pulled back from Joe, focusing on work. The company grew. I made 6 figures, got engaged, married. Kim and I went to China later, just business, no slip-ups. She asked if I'd join her if she started her own company. Odd, but I said yes, brushing it off. Life was good, wife, kid on the way, money rolling in. Kim had a daughter too. They pushed us to be friends, but I kept my distance, haunted by Vegas. 2 years later, Joe called me to a bar, rare for him. I braced for the worst, thinking he knew. Instead, he vented. Kim was isolating him, her parents, still living with them, meddling, controlling their daughter's upbringing. They hadn't been intimate in months. She deflected, obsessed with work, refusing more kids. He wanted a simple life. She wanted power. I suggested divorce, GPS tracking, anything to wake him up. He balked, clinging to counseling. I saw Kim's game, affair or exit, but stayed quiet. Days later, Kim vanished from work. Suppliers stalled, customers bailed. Joe called us in. Kim had fought with him, was sabotaging the business, starting her own. He tracked her phone. Multiple guys, one proposing plans to ditch him and take the company. I went to China, secured new suppliers, kept us afloat. Kim stopped her attacks, we stabilized. Then a missing persons report. Her family claimed she was gone. Joe was a suspect, begged me to hide her affair. I agreed, not wanting her back. Months passed. Joe got social paranoid. Her family pushed the cops. A PI dug up her sabotage affairs. Media swarmed. I lawyered up, stayed silent. 6 months later, no charges, case went cold. A year on, remains found, Kim's. Joe was arrested, confessed. An accident. She'd threatened to take their daughter. He pushed her, she hit her head, bled out. He'd panicked, hit her. Convicted of second-degree homicide, 20+ years. Joe gave me the business. I'm fighting for his daughter, raising her with mine. I tell myself Kim deserved it, she'd have ruined us. But the secrets I carry, Vegas, her plans still gnaw at me. Joe's not the villain. Maybe I am. Judge me if you want. I don't care.